Hello students, in this video we were going to discuss about the immunity and immune system. Immunity. Every day we are exposed to a large number of infectious agents. However, only a few of these exposure result in disease. Why? This is due to the fact that the body is able to defend itself from most of these foreign agents. This ability of the host of the body to fight the disease causing organism conferred by the immune system is called the immunity. So the ability of the body to fight the disease causing organism is immunity, and this is given to the body by the immune system. Now the immune system is of two types, basically innate immunity and acquired immunity. Innate immunity is non-specific type of defense. So it is not specific against different organisms. For all the organisms, the same type of defense mechanism is there, and it is present from the time of the birth. This is accomplished by providing different types of barriers to the entry of the foreign agents in our body. Innate immunity consists of four types of barriers. These are, first is the physical barrier. So as you can see here, skin on our body is the main barrier which prevents entry of the microorganisms. Apart from this, the mucus layer which is present in the respiratory, gastrointestinal and urogenital tracts also help in trapping microbes entering our body. So you can see here the mucus layer that is present here. In this case, it is present in the respiratory tract, and it prevents different microbes from entering the body. Next is physiological barrier. Acid in the stomach here, saliva in the mouth and tears from eyes, they all have different antimicrobial agents which prevent microbial growth. Cellular barriers, certain kind of leukocytes, that is WBC, in our body, like the PMNL, that is polymorphonuclear leukocytes, neutrophils, and monocytes and natural killer cells. These are all different types of lymphocytes in the blood, as well as macrophages in the tissue can phagocytosis, that is they engulf the microbe and destroy the microbe. So this is a macrophage, and their mode of action is that they swallow or engulf the microbe, and that process is known as phagocytosis. Cytokine barrier, this barrier is specific for virus infection only. So the virus infected cells, they secrete some protein which are called interferons. You can see here some proteins are there which are interferons, and these interferons, they protect the non-infected neighboring cells from further viral infection. So all these are different types of innate immunity, and as you see, these are different types of barriers, and they are not specific. They are basically for all microbes. They prevent all microbes from entering the body. Next is acquired immunity. This is not present from the birth. This is acquired as the body comes in contact with different pathogens. Now this is pathogen specific. So for each and every pathogen, the mode of immunity or mode of action against it is different. It is characterized by memory. That means the immunity here, it remembers the infection. This means that our body, when it encounters a pathogen for the first time, produces a response called the primary response, which is of low intensity. So when first time a pathogen, say for example a bacteria, enters the body, the immune response is of low intensity, and it takes time for this response. So this response is called the primary response, which is of low intensity and it takes time. But if the same bacteria will enter the second time or the third time or the fourth time, so subsequent encounters, this will elicit a highly intensified secondary or anamnestic response. So the secondary response, that is the subsequent responses, will be of very high intensity and will also be very quick, so that the pathogen will be destroyed by our immune system. So here we see that this is ascribed to the fact that our body appears to have memory of the first encounter. So this is basically because the primary response, after the primary response, there are some memory cells which remembers this bacteria, and so when the second or the third infection will take place, it will be eradicated very quickly. Now the primary and the secondary immune responses are carried out by the help of two special types of lymphocytes, that is the B lymphocyte and the T lymphocyte. Now the mechanism of action of these two types of lymphocytes are different. The B lymphocyte, it produces an army of proteins, and these proteins are known as antibodies, while the T cells themselves do not secrete antibodies but help B cells produce them, and the T cells, they directly attack the microbes. So B cells, they produce antibodies, and these antibodies will kill the microbes, and the T cells will directly attack the microbes. So the difference between innate and acquired immunity, first is that it is non-specific. This innate immunity is non-specific, while acquired immunity is specific. Second is it is present since birth and is known as natural immunity, while this is basically it is acquired during the lifetime as we come in contact with different pathogens, and therefore it is known as acquired immunity. This is the first line of defense. This is the initial line of defense which prevent the microbes from entering the body. But even after this, if the microbes enter the body, then this is the second line of defense, and it is more specific. Then here the response in case of innate immunity occurs rapidly from minutes to hours, while here the response is a little slower, days to weeks it requires for the response to take place. Okay, now the B cells, they produce antibody. Let us see the structure of the antibody. The antibodies have basically 4 chains, as you can see, 4 peptide chains, 2 are long chains and they are called the heavy chains, and 2 short chains, these are called the light chains. Therefore antibody is also called as H2L2, that is 2 heavy chains and 2 light chains. Now there are different types of antibodies in our body, A, M, E, G, like that they are named. So Ig is the full form, is the name of antibody, immunoglobulin. So antibodies are also called immunoglobulin, and these are named on the letters of the alphabet. Now as you can see here, the antibody has an antigen binding site. So let us see what is an antigen. So antigen is any substance that causes your immune system to produce antibodies against it. This means that your immune system does not recognize the substance and is trying to fight it off. So you can see here this any organism, they have some surface markers, and the antibodies, they will act against any surface marker which is not present in our cells. So our antibody will recognize the surface markers of our cells, but any of these markers or any antigens which does not belong to our body will be destroyed by the antibodies. So antigen may be a substance from the environment such as chemicals, or it can be bacteria, virus, pollen. So any of this can be an antigen. So an antibody will act against an antigen that is foreign to our body. Now antigens are usually proteins, peptides and polysaccharides, but sometimes lipids and nucleic acids can be antigens only in combination with proteins and polysaccharides. So if the lipid and nucleic acid are in combination with protein and polysaccharide, then only it will act as an antigen. So the antibody will act against a specific antigen. So every type of antigen will have a specific antibody against it. Now let us see the difference between this B lymphocyte and T lymphocytes. The T lymphocytes and the B lymphocytes both are formed in the bone marrow. As you know, all type of blood cells are formed in the bone marrow. So these cells are also, these are lymphocytes, that is a type of WBC. So these are also formed in the bone marrow. Now difference is that the maturation, where the maturation takes place. So T lymphocytes, they mature in thymus, while B lymphocytes, they mature in bone marrow. T cells are long-lived, while B cells are short-lived or long-lived, depends on what type of B cells are there. There are basically 2 types of B cells. Then they are highly mobile, that means they can move from one part of the body to another, and B cells are mostly fairly mobile or stationary. Then they do not have any surface antigens. Then here they do have surface antigens. No antibody synthesis. So T cells, they do not form antibodies, and B cells, they form antibodies. T cells, the immunity is basically called as cellular immunity. They functions mostly in the blood, so this is known as humoral immunity. T cells occupy about 80% of the total lymphocytes present in the blood, while B cells the remaining 20%. The immunity provided by the T cell is known as cell-mediated immunity, CMI. The immunity provided by the B cells are known as humoral-mediated immunity or antibody-mediated immunity, AMI. T cells, they lack surface antigens. They identify viral antigens outside the infected cells. So T cells, they directly cannot identify viral antigens. What they do is that when this virus will infect our cells, so the body cells will have the viral antigen, and then the T cells will identify and they will kill the antigen. Whereas B cells, they secrete antibodies, and this B cells can identify the antigens which is present in the virus. So even if the virus has not infected the cell, if the antigens in the virus or the bacteria can be identified B cells. So that is the difference. T cell can only identify when this virus has attacked or when the virus has infected our body cells, and B cells can identify it before without infection of our cells also, or just the virus, the antigen of the virus can be identified. T cells work against tumor cells or any transplanted organs. So this is the main cell which is responsible for rejection of transplanted organs, T cells. While B cells, they fight and protect the body from bacteria and virus that enters the bloodstream, and they basically T cells protect and fight against pathogens like fungi and bacteria and viruses which enters the body. So these are basically, as the name suggests, its function is inside in the cell, and here the B cells, mostly the function is in the blood. Now the B cells, as we had already discussed, the immunity provided by them is called the humoral immunity or antigen mediated immunity. So as you can see, this is the B cell, and it produces, as it comes in contact with the antigen, it will produce a clone of B cells, and this clone of B cells will produce the antibodies, and these antibodies will react with the antigen and kill the microbe. Here the cell mediated immunity, this is the T cells. Now the T cells will only recognize the antigen when it has infected a body cell. So this is the infected body cells, and it has this antigen of the microbe which has infected the cell. Then only the T cell will recognize this antigen. They will make a clone of T cells, and then they will directly, you can see directly they are killing the infected cells. So there is no production of antibody. It's direct action. So difference between humoral and cell mediated. Okay, this is humoral is by B lymphocytes, cell mediated is by T lymphocyte, and the same thing, that is humoral is basically B lymphocyte. As you know, it has been formed and matured in bone marrow, while T lymphocyte has been formed in bone marrow but matured in thymus. This is basically protects against extracellular, for example in the microbes in blood, urine, sweat, digestive juices, and different infections. While in case of T lymphocyte, this is mostly in the cells, intracellular microbes such as virus, parasites, bacteria, and also they kill tumor cells. Here plasma cells secrete antibodies. Antibodies are formed. Here they directly kill infected cells. Antibodies are formed in case of this. Antibodies are not formed in case of T lymphocytes. And the B lymphocytes are of two types: the plasma cells which form the antibodies, and the memory cells which basically remembers the infection. And for humoral immunity, a T lymphocyte is also required, that is the helper T cells. The helper T cells are required for the plasma cells to produce antibodies. In case of cell mediated immunity, there are different types of T cells which have different types of function. There is the cytotoxic T cells, TC, this is the cytotoxic T cells, this directly kills infected cells. Then there is the memory T cells, and then there are the other T cells which also help in the this immune response. Apart from this, there are macrophages. So when these T cells will destroy the infected cells, the macrophage will engulf the cells and will destroy, or phagocytosis will occur. Now we come to the different types of acquired immunity. So acquired immunity can be two types, active and passive. Active immunity is that when our body responds, the immunity which is produced against a microbe when it enters our body due to infection, or when it is injected into the body in the form of a vaccine. So there are two types of active immunity: natural, when there is the infection and the body and the microbe enters the body, so antibodies are produced against them, so that is natural immunity, natural active immunity. While in case of artificial immunity, say the dead organism is injected, say for example in vaccines, that is done, that is a dead organism, or the antigen of that microbe is injected into the body, and the antibody will be produced because of that antigen that is injected, and that way our body will be protected from the disease for some times. So that is artificial active immunity. Passive immunity is the when you develop the antibody somewhere else in some other organism and you inject the antibody directly into the body. Okay, so in active, the antibody is produced inside the body as a response to infection or vaccination. Here the antibody is produced somewhere else outside in other organism and is injected into the body. So again here natural antibodies, as you have already studied the colostrum, it has antibodies, IgA, which helps the baby from infection just after birth. And in case of artificial, we can take the example of, for example, this is the gamma globulin injection or infusion that is given. So this is basically so that in some cases, if our immune system will take time to produce antibodies, then that may be fatal. So antibodies are directly injected. So ready-made antibodies are directly injected into the body. Okay, so same thing, the active and passive. This is the naturally active and passive. Active in case of infection, and passive in case of the mother's milk, colostrum. And artificially active in case of vaccines, and passive in case of antibodies that are injected due to by injection. Ready-made or preformed antibodies are injected. Vaccination and immunization, this basically the principle is based on the memory of our immune system. As we had already discussed, that the first response of our body is the primary response, but the primary response is always very slow and of low intensity. But subsequent response that we call as secondary response are of very high intensity and also very quick. So that property of our immune system is used in vaccination. So what is vaccination? So in vaccination, a preparation of antigenic proteins of the pathogen or inactivated weakened pathogen. So either, say for example, we are giving a vaccine against a virus, so either we will use a inactivated weakened virus, or we will take the antigen of the virus and we will inject it into the body. So as soon as we inject this into the body, our immune system will produce antibodies against this antigen. So this will be the primary response of our body. So once the antibodies are produced, then what will happen, if actually that virus enters the body, the antibodies will be produced because the body will have memory of that, and the antibodies will be produced the second time at a very rapid rate, and the immunity will also be highly intensified. The reaction will be very highly intensified. So that is used in the process of vaccination. So the antibodies produced in the body against this antigen will neutralize the pathogenic agents during actual infection. The vaccines are also generate memory, B cells and T cells, that recognize the pathogen quickly on subsequent exposure and overwhelm the invaders with a massive production of antibodies. So this property of memory is used in the process of vaccination. Now let us talk about allergies. Now allergies are also a response of our immune system, but it is an exaggerated response to our immune system to certain antigens present in the environment. Okay, these antigens may not be harmful for us, but our immune system, they respond very high intensity response against some certain antigens that is present in the environment. That is called allergy. The substances to which such a immune response is produced is called allergen. These are called allergens. Different types of allergens can be there. For example, the allergens are can be dust, pollens, animal dander, etc. Now the antibody which is responsible for this response is called the IgE antibody. This is responsible for allergic reactions. Now symptoms of allergic reactions are sneezing, watery eyes, running nose, difficulty in breathing. Allergy, the symptoms is basically due to the release of these two chemicals, that is histamine and serotonin, from the mast cells. And the drugs that is used to for these symptoms, to reduce the symptoms of allergy, are antihistamines, adrenaline and steroids. These drugs are used to reduce the symptoms of allergy. So we can see these are the different symptoms of allergy, and these are the most common allergens. So it can be insect bite, insects, medications, dust is very common allergen. Then some people have gluten allergy. Then some proteins, for example lactose can be a allergen. Then pollens are very common allergen, animal dander, nuts. So these are some of the different most common allergens. Next is autoimmune diseases. Now what are autoimmune diseases? This is basically our immune system attacking our own cells. So this is basically a genetic defect. Due to some genetic defects, our immune system the immune system of a person will attack the cells of the body itself. This results in damage to the body and is called the autoimmune disease. So very common autoimmune diseases are given here. The Hashimoto thyroiditis, this is basically affects the thyroid gland. The systemic lupus, the heart. Rheumatoid arthritis, basically the joints. Then eczema and psoriasis, these are basically skin diseases. Celiac is the disease of the gut intestine, small intestine. Asthma of the alveoli of the lungs. And multiple sclerosis is basically neurons are damaged due to this disease. So the immune system of a person attacks the cells of their own body, and this is basically a genetic defect. Now what is the immune system? So we are talking about immune system, and we know that the B cells and T cells and different types of cells are present in our immune system. Now what are the organs that constitute the immune system? So the main organs, of course, of our immune system are the lymphoid organs. Then there are tissues, cells, soluble molecules like antibodies. This all whole consist of our immune system. First let us talk about the primary organs, that is the lymphoid organs. These organs where the origin and maturation and proliferation of the lymphocytes occur, that is the B cells and the T cells, they mature and proliferate here. Now the primary lymphoid organs are the bone marrow and the thymus. As we have already discussed that all types of lymphocytes, all type of WBCs and all types of blood cells are formed in the bone marrow, but B lymphocytes, they mature in bone marrow, whereas T lymphocyte, they mature in thymus. So bone marrow and thymus are the primary lymphoid organs. Now after maturation, the lymphocyte migrate to the secondary lymphoid organs. So which are the secondary lymphoid organs? Spleen, lymph nodes, tonsils, spear patches of small intestine and appendix. These are the secondary lymphoid organs. Now what happens in the secondary lymphoid organs? The secondary lymphoid organs provide the sites for interaction of lymphocytes with the antigen, which then proliferate to become effector cells. So here basically there is interaction of the lymphocyte with the antigen so that they divide and multiply, which is called proliferation. So this is the whole immune system in our body. You can see this is the bone marrow. The long bones in our body have bone marrow inside them. This is the thymus, the organ just above the heart. And then the secondary lymphoid organs, there is the tonsils, there is the spleen, then the Peyer's patches, appendix. These are the secondary lymphoid organs. Now both bone marrow and thymus provide microenvironments for the development of the T and the B lymphocyte. The spleen is a large bean-shaped organ, and it mainly contains lymphocytes and phagocytes, and it acts as a filter of the blood by trapping blood-borne microorganisms, the spleen. So this is a secondary lymphoid organ. The lymph nodes are small solid structure which serves to trap the microorganisms or other antigens. So these are the different lymph nodes that are present in different part of the body, the lymph nodes. And so the secondary lymphoid organs, either spleen or lymph nodes, they basically trap the microorganisms or antigens. And the lymphocyte will react with the antigen and will be activated, and then they will give the immune response. There is a lymphoid tissue also located within the lining of major tracts, that is the respiratory, digestive and urogenital tract, called the mucosa associated lymphoid tissue, or MALT, M-A-L-T, and it constitutes about 50% of the lymphoid tissue in our body. So all the major tracts of our body has this mucosa associated lymphoid tissue, and about 50% of the lymphoid tissue in our body is MALT. So this is about our immune system. Thank you.